who are just out of surgery.
South Korea's childbirth rate has hit a new record low as the government is blamed for outdated policies about the role of women in society.
South Korea's countryside is emptying out.
0.80. That's how many children a Korean woman is expected to have in a lifetime. For context, you will need 2.11 to sustain a population for a country. Now, I want to talk to you about some mice. Stay with me. In 1968, an American ethologist named John B. Calhoun built a paradise for mice. He called it Universe 25. It had unlimited food, unlimited water, no predators, no disease, perfect temperature, everything a mouse could ever need to survive, provided for free. He placed 4 breeding pairs, total 8 mice in it, and then he watched, and the population exploded. Within an year, it has around 2,000 mice living in that paradise. And then something started to go wrong. As population grew, social roles broke down. The mice became aggressive, anxious, and withdrawn. Mothers abandoned their young ones. Males stopped competing for the mate. The normal structure of a mouse life was completely collapsed. Calhoun noticed something unexpected. A group of mice, mostly male, simply, completely opt out. They stopped engaging with the chaos around them. They retreated into a corner. They didn't fight, they didn't mate, they didn't interact. What they did was groom. Hours after hours, they groomed themselves. Their coats was perfect, their appearance immaculated. They were, by all external measures, were the most beautiful mice in Universe 25. Colin called them the beautiful ones. The beautiful ones, despite their exceptional appearance, had zero interest in reproduction, zero interest in social connection, and zero interest in future. Colin removed them from the universe and put them in a separate universe. This was an empty universe. New, fresh start. But they didn't reproduce. They continued grooming themselves. They continued to withdraw from society. The behavior became permanent. And the population of Universe 25 kept getting down until there was nothing left. Colin wrote, "I shall largely speak of mice, but my thoughts are on men." Now let's talk about South Korea. South Korea has the highest rate of plastic surgery on earth, 8.9 surgeries or procedures per 1,000 people. 1 in 3 women between the age of 19 to 29 had a cosmetic surgery. But these numbers, as striking as they are, don't tell the complete story. Because in South Korea, appearance isn't just a personal preference, it's an infrastructure, a system. They even have a word for it. It's called Lookism, or Oimo Jishangshu. Sorry for my Korean, but the literal translation of this phrase means looks are supreme. Despite lookism being technically illegal since 1995, it remains a cultural norm so embedded in people's mind that they don't even recognize it as discrimination. When you meet a person in South Korea, the first thing they say would be about your appearance, your height, your skin, your weight, not as an insult, as a greeting. Job application requires photograph, height, and sometimes even weight. In 2017, a poll was held in South Korea. 40% of respondents had experienced appearance-based discrimination while applying for the jobs. 60% of HR said that a person's appearance directly affected their candidacy while hiring. And so, beauty becomes a non-vanity. Beauty becomes a survival. When your appearance determines whether you get a partner, a job, or respect in a community, investing in your appearance is not shallow. It's what the system demands. Which is why in South Korea, it is completely normal for a mother to gift her daughter a plastic surgery as a graduation day gift, not as cruelty, as love, because the mother wants to give her child every advantage she can get while applying for jobs. There are 600 plastic surgery clinics in Gangnam alone, 600 in one neighborhood. And here's the thing, the standards that are being chased are not even achievable. They are not meant to be achievable. The V-shaped jawline, the thin legs, flat stomach, the double eyelids, the pale skin, the slim figure. These are standards designed by media and enforced by culture. And most people, let's be true here, cannot achieve this type of beauty in their life, because this it's simply not achievable with most people with or without surgery. One woman described this as a checklist: fair skin, get slim, lose weight, fix hair, and then what? There is no end for this. The labor for appearance never ends. It kept going on for 24/7. It never closed. 24% of South Koreans themselves experience appearance-based discrimination inside the same Korea that they are born in. And lookism, the pressure of it, is directly associated with high suicide rates in young ones. Now, I want to be very clear about something. Just because we talk about beauty standards, people think it's about women, but men are not free either. The K-pop industry has made beauty standards as rigid and demanding as it is for women. Slim, flawless skin, specific facial structure. Men who don't meet these standards faces their own version of lookism in dating, in hiring, and in social standing. Men plastic surgery in Korea is growing rapidly. Men undergo procedures for double eyelid, jaw reduction, and rhinoplasty. The same market, same pressure, same system. Just the packaging is different. The double standards that does exist though is that men required cleanliness and neatness, whereas the women required beauty and attractiveness. Men are held on a bar and women are held on an idol. Those are different things. But the point I want to make is, this isn't a system that liberates one gender and leave the other. It exhausts everyone. It demands performance from everyone. And when a society demands this much performance from its people, people start to opt out. The body became an instrument you take to work, and it's open for 24/7. And at some point, people get tired of working. South Korea's fertility rate is 0.72 in year 2022, and it was expected to fall around 0.65 in 2025, but it has increased to 0.80. The demographers called this increase a blip, something like a glitch, but the problem still exists. The government has spent billions trying to reverse this problem. Financial incentives, childcare support, housing support, none of it has worked, because the problem is not financial, it goes deeper than money. Marriage in South Korea is also declining alongside its birth rate. And marriage is declining because in a society where appearance decide your worth and worth decide who you can partner with, the mathematics of marriage becomes brutal. An average wedding in South Korea costs around $200,000, 9 times what a person earns in South Korea. The financial barrier itself is enormous. But beyond money, there is exhaustion. Women who have spent years performing beauty for employment, for acceptance, for survival, are increasingly asking, why would I add more to that? Why would I take up the labor of household, the physical transformation of pregnancy, and the career sacrifice that motherhood often demands in a society that already demands this much from her appearance alone? There is even a movement called Tal Corset, means escape the corset. Women who have rejected the beauty standards completely. They cut their hair short, they refuse to wear makeup, they refuse to check the checklist. Not because they hate beauty, but because they hate what it costs. And here's where Calhoun's mice come back. The beautiful one didn't stop grooming out of protest. They didn't make a political statement. They simply just withdrew. The social environment has become so demanding, so chaotic, and so exhausting that the only rational thing to do is retreat inward, to focus on the self. to stop participating in the reproduction of the future. I'm not saying South Koreans are mice. I want to be precise about that. But I'm saying in a society where the cost of beauty standards had become this high and the cost of children, marriage, and future is this high, some people will naturally retreat. But what I'm saying is, when a society creates an environment where the cost of meeting its beauty standards has become so high, the cost of marriage, children, and future building is so high, some people will make the same calculation as the beautiful ones made. I'll focus on myself, I'll opt out, I withdraw. And that withdrawal multiplied by thousands of people becomes a birth rate of 0.80. And here's the cruel irony at the heart of all of this. The beauty standards were made in part to make people more attractive, more marriageable, more desirable in a society where appearance decide the outcome. The logic was, if you look better, you will be better. But the standards have become so expensive, so extreme, and so relentless that it now actively destroyed the very thing it was supposed to create. You cannot build a family while spending this much money on appearance, skincare, and self-management. You cannot find a partner in a dating market that is so appearance obsessed that ordinary people feel worthless. You cannot have children in a society where they are being judged for their appearance. The machine is consuming its own fuel. Beauty is not killing South Korea because it is bad. Beauty is killing South Korea because it has become the only currency that matters. And when that happens, everything else gets devalued. Relationship, family, children, all of it worth less than your jawline. I want to be careful about how I end this because it would be easy and wrong to look at South Korea from the outside and say, this is what happened when a culture became too obsessed with beauty. That framing misses something important. The woman getting surgery on a graduation day, they didn't create the system. The men investing in their skincare and procedure, they didn't design these standards. The young people opting out of children and marriage, they are not making a frivolous choice. They are making a rational response to an irrational demand. The system did this, not the people inside it. Calhoun's beautiful ones were not vain. They were not weak. They were put in an environment that stopped making sense. They only responded the way they knew. The question, Universe 25, leaves with us that Calhoun always intended. It's not about mice. It's about what happened when the environment that we built for ourselves stopped rewarding the things that sustain us and start rewarding only the performance of beauty. South Korea is not a cautionary tale about vanity. It's a cautionary tale about what happens when a society decides gradually, quietly, through job boards and graduation gifts and dating apps and K-pop, that your looks matter more whether you are here at all. I would like to know what you think. Do drop in the comments. If this made you think something different, please subscribe and I'll see you in the next one. Till then, bye.